Luxe Leap. I am so excited that you all decided to join us again today. I today have with me Miss Kiisha Jennings. She is an incredible chief strategist of KJ and Associates. She does small business consulting for businesses within the public sector. She supports commercial and nonprofit as well as academia. We are so happy to have her here today to share her journey and her joy with you about what it took to create such an incredible business. So Kiisha, welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So why don't we start with you sharing more about your business and just a brief overview of what life looked like from start to today?
Wow. So, K. Jennings and Associates, we are your strategic advisor by the way of partnership engagement, client relationship development, as well as program management. If we cannot grow you, we have failed you. I am indeed a growth agent. I would like to say I fit very well in different industries. Do I have a particular favorite? Anything that requires growth, I'm here to serve. I like complex situations. So oftentimes I'm presented with opportunities with a blank canvas, and I'm a solutionist. So therefore, those puzzle pieces that are scattered all over the table, when we get done, we will have a well-orchestrated, defined puzzle and opportunity for growth and development and evolution of your business.
That is incredible. And I love just the idea of being a solutionist because so many times, I think I may have shared this with you from when I coached cheer, that rule number 2 is no excuses, only solutions. Like we can figure it out. And I really appreciate that about you because not so many people come to a table with solutions.
That's
Uh,
what keeps me up at night and wakes me up in the morning is the strategic piece of it. It's just my niche. So I'm honing in on it every day.
I love it. Well, let's look back in the past as we are going through the lens of strategy. What was a pivotal moment in your brand's journey that really defined where you are today?
Oh, that's an easy question. I would say COVID. I started off in 2015 with a business development core focus area. Coming from Hunter Williams, in which I was privileged to run a practice the last 7 years of my tenure, it pretty much formulated the platform for serving small businesses. And so it was easy for me to start off in the BD realm because for a practice to succeed, you had to engage your internal clients, people you work with, your peers, various departments, as well as your external. And if you did not know how to master that, you couldn't lead well. So going into BD for me was very easy. But I would say COVID, because as a consultant, you have to deem yourself as a useful resource, right? You want to stay a consultant because we all know what happens when we have to downsize. So during COVID, I had to quickly come up with strategies for my clients who were used to being on site, going to conferences, stakeholder meetings, etc., to demonstrate their core services and expertise. How do we do that virtually in a world where virtual was present, but it wasn't dominant at the time? So I would say once I successfully pivoted and saw my clients actually grow in COVID, they grew, so KJA grew. That was the light bulb at that time that I had to pivot into my niche, and that was strategy. Still do BD, of course, because most of my clients as well as partners know me as an engager, but strategy definitely was my pivot, and I've been refining it ever since.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Well, strategy is one of the core just parts of doing my own business is like we have to strategize before we start building anything.
Absolutely.
And which is a very different process to approaching brand and marketing work. A lot of times it's like we're going to do these things and like your
Hmm.
social media and your website and like everything's going to be pretty and it's going to be magic. But the reality is a lot of times we don't see strategy in those spaces. And so I appreciate that you come through with strategy first lens because I do the same thing of like, we're going to create a strategic plan and then that's how we can execute getting it done in 1 to 2 days. So
Exactly.
it's strategy is such an important piece and it's, it's more than just a plan. There's so many elements to your puzzle analogy. There's so many pieces that have to fit just the right way.
Right.
Um, and how to find the piece underneath the table. Okay, so
Hall.
Or no, yes, behind the
Oh,
bathroom, sink. If you have children, it probably made its way outside.
exactly.
Where's the missing puzzle piece?
Exactly.
If you could change one decision in your journey, what would it be and why?
To start KJA sooner.
Tell me more.
So when I was at Hutton, well, I would just say the whole legal industry, I grew up professionally. It was just about 16 years when I made that pivot. And it was, if at that time, there was no way that you couldn't tell Keisha I was going to retire from that industry. It provided me growth, it provided me opportunity. Hutton and Williams was a global law firm, so I traveled to many places, engaged at many tables. So I was definitely growing and developing. I had some really good supervisors that kept pushing me beyond what I thought I could do. So I was comfortable. But that's the key, right? You're comfortable, but there's so much opportunity beyond your current capacity. And so now that I'm doing what I'm doing for the last 10 years as a small business consultant, a partner of, many businesses and stakeholders, all small, medium, large, I'm like, wow, I really wish I would have given this some thought maybe 10 years prior, because I now realize that my passion is what I'm doing right now. I had a great career prior to this, but my passion is definitely ignited in what I do for KJA's clients and partners. So if I would turn back the hands of time, I would have started a long time ago, igniting my passion and my purpose.
That's incredible because I I can promise you, never in a million years did I think we would be here. Just so you know.
Well,
Um, for the folks who listened to the Kate Dixon episode, and we were talking about that was our 5-year Galentine's anniversary. Even though I opened my business that year,
mhm,
2 months later, almost to the day, I still couldn't have told you
mhm,
that this is where we would be.
exactly.
Um, so sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, but I can't imagine a life without it either. This is
No, not in the worst of times. Um,
mm-mm,
right now, it seems like a repeat of COVID, where there's some unknowns, and it's different than a lot of us have experienced, depending on what age you are. So again, it's time for that strategic pivot, that provoking thought process, that communication, and that collaboration. So here we are again, 5 years. It's not COVID, but it's a similar in nature experience where there's a lot of unknowns, but business and operations have to continue. So what does that look like? Except it's not an individual thought process. It should be a collaborative thought process.
absolutely. And I think as we go into these lovely unknowns, it is going to a lot of these unknowns are showing themselves to make life very divisive and very me against you in so many ways.
Hmm.
And so it's like, what does collaboration look like? And what does a solid front look like, regardless of differences? And as consultants, what is our role in that space? Because we're going to be consulting within businesses that larger businesses, especially where that division is going to naturally start to occur, whether it's unconscious or if it's in the forefront. And my heart goes out to many HR consultancies right
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
there's just so much that has to be navigated.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
so, um, why don't we take a minute and share what you think some of the first like 3 to 5 steps are to create collaboration within those spaces, or how you would share that with a client, because the unknowns are very real right now
Absolutely.
and people need this. Probably will need it 5 years from now too.
Well, I think that some things happen in our lives intentionally, right? Shifts are necessary. They're uncomfortable because sometimes you don't see it coming, but they're necessary for elevation, right? So you have to have that posture at times in life where there is a shift going on. But no matter what the shift is, when I get to the other side of it, I will be victorious. So if you have that posture and that mindset when you're navigating through the uncharted territories, the murky waters, and sometimes the gray and the bleak, trust me, if you just stay focused, You will get to the other end, just like after any storm, there's a rainbow, right? Rainbow bring what? Sunshine. Have you ever seen a rainbow in dismal conditions? No. It comes with sunshine. So that's just my mental perspective with a lot of things in life. So, so you're going to also get my personal, just kind of how I posture myself. And for my clients, I think operational alignment is key, right? So to the point you made earlier, you can make a lot of things look pretty. I have a whole marketing team, graphic design team, website developer, I have videographers, photographers on my team. So there's nothing we can't pretty up. However, you can make it as pretty as possible. But if it's not operationally sound, it's going to just be that a pretty object. What do you do with that, right? So I think operational alignment, like right now, needs to happen internally, number one. Number two, you can't do everything yourself, right? You don't want to oversell, which you can do as a business, but you do want to kind of look at the core services, your staff, your team, your customers, right? Your customers may stay the same or they may not, depending on the climate that you're in. So just doing that internal, if you will, fact checking, report card developing, whatever you want to call it. But I think the internal conversations have to take place and then the external outreach, but do it strategically because everyone is not meant to go where you're going, but we have to do it collectively. So I think that's pretty much, just where we should be as a posture of, what's next. KJA, we represent a small business community, right? So for me, it's really easy because that's my thought process. I do everything with partners. I don't do anything individually. I always say I do what I do because they support me. So I'm the tree, they're the branches. So since small business community is my mantra, that's the same posture I have with my clients and my partners.
That's incredible. And just that ability to like bring everybody together, but understanding, like when I think of a tree, if you are the tree, you're also creating that shade that everybody gets to enjoy and be a part of, but there's strength in being the tree and strength that can weather a storm like these
Yeah,
unknowns. And so it's really powerful to envision that and to give that same vision and forward thinking to your clients. It's really impactful and
absolutely.
beautiful. Um, so my very favorite question actually around the past and even now is when you started out, were there any glass ceilings you were aiming to shatter with your brand messaging in your industry or things you wanted to shake up?
Glass ceilings. Not so much. I don't have a competitive nature, to be honest with you. I like to present myself, Kiisha Jennings, i.e. K. Jennings and Associates, in the most authentic, organic, purest form. Uniqueness is what I pride myself in. So I'm not looking at any one entity to say, if I had an opportunity, I want to be like them. That's just not my personal posture. I like traveling the road less traveled because that allows me to have discovery.
Yeah,
So there is no, I would say, glass ceiling that I was looking to shatter. My biggest thing was impact. Where can I go to have small but very robust reach for a legacy of footprint in industry? So to answer your question, that's just who I am as a person. So therefore, that's what my company represents.
I love that. And just that idea of like, yeah, y'all can have your ceiling, but there's this whole road over here. This whole road that
Because I
no one's
think
at.
it's boundless. It's not contained. I look at opportunities and those windows of opportunity. I mean, there's one window after the other. It could be oval, it could be circle, it could be rectangle, it could be square. Whatever it is, there is a window of opportunity for everyone to fit through, right?
Mhm.
So I just look at just balance of opportunities. Every opportunity is, I don't care. There's how many women-owned small businesses in this nation, right? And but there's never enough if you discover your uniqueness and just that's your prescription. What do you do different than anyone else? And just stay there and cultivate that uniqueness. And there, so if there's a glass ceiling, then maybe it's the one you create for yourself. But I look at boundless opportunities, so I just keep reaching.
Oh my goodness, that's actually really good advice because I would say, especially just for the amount of women that I speak with, that a lot of times that glass ceiling is actually you know, of that that fear that sometimes can scare us.
Hmm.
Um, the fear that I had even around starting this podcast, that's a great example, you know, of me reaching out to strangers and saying, "Hey, do you want to be here?" Um, if I didn't push past that, you know, find my window of opportunity, we would not be sitting here together.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree. Totally agree.
So, you know, sometimes you have to shatter the glass ceiling that might just actually be a mirror. So,
Love
it's
it.
very it's a very we're having very deep thoughts this morning or afternoon for you, but deep thoughts in the
Proliferation.
morning.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
So looking to the future, knowing that we have these unknowns and heaven knows where the world's going to take us in the next 5 years,
Heaven
how
knows.
do you plan to evolve your products or services?
To adapt to the change, I try to be proactive. I meet with my team mid-year, intentionally. And again, my team are my partners, so they each have their own businesses. They represent different competencies. I'm accountable to my team. I'm very humble to their direction. I trust them. You got to be vulnerable to someone other than yourself. So we meet semi-annually, but then we see drastic changes like this. We immediately say, let's get the time on the calendar and let's discuss strategy. So I try to be very proactive. I read everything. I am, not on LinkedIn just to kind of see what's going on. I subscribe to a lot of information for the industries that my clients are in, and furthermore, where KJA is trying to go. So I try to stay ahead of, the industry's information, intelligence, any avenues where I can sit, whether it's a cohort, whether it's a session, whether it is, a networking opportunity. I don't go to everything because who has time to go to every single event and or opportunity? We can block out time, right? But time is valuable. Right. So I try to strategically place myself in places where I can learn and bring back that learning, that education to my clients. So just really trying to remain very proactive, especially where this is a very volatile, a change. It's happening by the hour, by the day. It's not just Monday through Friday. We're getting updates over the weekend. So trying to, I would say, stay well versed in where the changes are occurring. A lot of my clients are in the public sector right now. So therefore, how can I benefit them if I'm not staying aware? Right? I have some amazing mentors. So I call upon them. Can we talk? And I'm very blessed and fortunate that when I reach out, they return my calls. But they know I'm a sponge. So I like to sit in rooms and opportunities to learn so I can be a better vessel and resource to the clients I support as well as my partners. So it's just staying proactive as much as possible.
Oh, I love that. And just like that need for knowledge that like
Never,
never stop learning. I
never.
mean, I don't remember who said like when you stop learning, you die or something like that. So it means a lot. Like I am a avid, avid reader. Um, if I could, as outgoing as I am, I think I would be happiest like curled up in a bed reading somewhere.
Yeah.
And they have full book retreats for this, everyone. The real thing. But you know, the world keeps spinning and I can't live
Right.
like full on Belle from Disney with my nose in a book. But as it pertains to Disney princesses, I definitely do relate to her. Just like, no, I'd rather just read. It's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm never, like you said, the learning there's never a time where you can stop. And I just crave it. Everyone learns differently too. I'm more of a hands-on learner, engaging from others because someone has done it better than me. Someone has done it more efficient than me. Someone has done it, more impactful than me. So I'll always look for those opportunities to sit in those audiences for sure.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Um, Actually, you and I might have this in common where I also learn from solving problems.
Solutionist. Yeah.
Yep. Just being in it and solving it, like the amount you can learn from just getting messy is
Mhm.
one of the greatest things you could possibly do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Um,
run towards the opportunity to provide a solution. If I don't know, I'm going to discover how I can find out. for sure. So there is no, I don't know, I'm sorry. It's I don't know now, but I'll give information and I'll learn tomorrow. So
Yep, we're gonna find out.
absolutely.
Doesn't matter if I have to call 100 people, we're gonna find out.
Absolutely. Absolutely for sure.
I love it. So, what investments are necessary to achieve your brand's next phase?
Hmm. I would say because you have a lot of startups, Ray, a lot of startups, and you don't really know what it takes, right? So, as a startup, I mean, you can do basic things like get a really nice high resolution logo. There's so many ways. Fiverr is my best friend, but there's a lot of, other platforms out there. But get yourself a nice logo. If you can't afford a website, get a landing page. Subscribe to LinkedIn. It's free. You don't need the premium version. Get someone to help you, you may have a kid in college that loves to be creative. You may have, these days these kids they have YouTube channels and their businesses in high school, right? So
Mhm.
they're a step above in how to communicate. So do what you think that you can afford, but execute it.
Yeah.
Because just because you're small, you don't want to have the appearance of small. You want to look polished, whatever that looks like for your budget. But that brand needs to be representative, not just where you are, but more importantly, where you're trying to go to. So when someone looks you up, they don't know because you have made that investment. Your investment is your budget. If you don't know your budget, determine it. So say you have $500. Okay, so you might get a Fiverr account and they can tell you, okay, we'll do, a logo for that amount. We can do a landing page for that amount. We can do your letterhead, whatever that is. But establish a budget for what you can afford and then start seeking out the best platforms and resources. Open your mouth, inquire who knows someone who does, great marketing or communications. And again, get a college student, pay them, $20, $25 an hour to help you for as long as you can. And just build upon that as you go. But I think that especially since COVID, the brand representation of your business is key. And then
Paramount.
it has to be maintained too. So you don't want your logo to look one way, your website to look something different, your signature block to look something different. You want it to be brand consistent. And I would just say polished, whatever that is to help you get there. Just make sure optically that you look ready to take on any size business that becomes available to you.
It's I have so many things to say on that since I do brand, but like I can't even organize my thoughts right now. But to start, the idea that people like the concept of don't judge a book by its cover is it's not very good advice in today's society anymore. Like the content can be great, but people eat with their eyes, plain and simple. And so and people communicate faster visually than they do through reading or even listening. Like that comes in 60,000 times faster than
Mhm.
reading something. And so it's really important to have that visual consistency. Now, there's a lot that goes into building a brand that has nothing to do with visual. There's some deep work that has to take place prior to that is strategic and intentional.
Mhm.
And I always tell people we need to follow the 3 Bs. We got to build a brand first, which means understanding where you're going to your point of like,
Right.
where's the vision? What are we stepping into?
Mhm.
Um, what are we committing to every day? And then I tell people to go into budget. Like, all right, you now know what you want. What can you afford? And what do you need
Realistically,
to be selling to?
yes.
Like, not
Realistically.
just grants and loans, but like, what do you need to sell to make
Mhm.
your bottom line happen within how you want to run business? And then you take those two beautiful Bs and you put them in a business plan or some kind of plan and take action towards it every single day. And you'll
Exactly.
win no matter what.
Absolutely.
You'll win.
Because there's hidden talents everywhere. You just have to discover what they are. So if it's within yourself and you can do it, amazing. I know what I want, and I think I'm a decent writer, but that's not my full lane. So find the person who can get you there and take you far.
It's so true. I couldn't live without my assistant. I can create all day. It's near impossible for me to get things posted. So every time y'all see something posted, 98% of the time, Ian did it. And 2% of the time, I did it.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
wrote it.
It
Put it
depends
out
on
there.
what platform, that I post, but to your point, my marketing communications lead, Becky Stroll, I can't do, and I tell her this every day of the week, 7 days of the week, every month. When I tell her I love you, she smiles because she knows I mean it. She's been with me since 2018. I cannot do what I do without her. She supports all of KJA's partners and clients. And Olivia Mills, Live Creative. She is my website, my brand developer, my brand strategist. She has done some amazing things. She is, I call her the Air Jordan of brand development and creation. Her innovation skills are just simply amazing. So it's wonderful that those two collaborate together. They met through me, but they work on projects outside of KJA, of course, and they do big things. But they drive, KJA in a lot of areas. And my clients who come to KJA's, purview, if you will, Becky and or Liv touches each one of them. So I feel you on those valuable assets and, respectfully, which is honest. Like I can't, I think I have, a beautiful brain, I've been blessed with, but that collaboration of talent is necessary. You got to just find your team and what works for you.
And you have to find them, and they will also show themselves to you naturally.
Agreed.
They will show themselves to you naturally.
Agreed. If you pay attention,
Mm-hmm.
you'll know very soon if this, and I've been very fortunate because I can't change those two out. So
Like, I need you forever. Don't leave me.
tell them that all the time. Like, if something happens, it's a wrap because I don't know what Keisha's gonna do without y'all.
You keep my world moving.
Yes, yes.
Well, I've got two last questions for you. Two questions I decided that I was going to ask every single person. And the first one is, what does a day living a luxurious life look like for you, Kiisha?
You mean outside of doing KJA work?
Sure.
Ooh, going for long walks, discovering some treasure, some jewel of nature that I didn't know was there. Um, Mental recharge. Because things don't make me happy. Peace within. And I have to continue to cultivate what that looks like, right? Because life happens. And we know that, right? We're not, we're all very mature adults at this time. I don't care, what your status is, as you grow in life, you just accept that life happens, right? So for me, balance is key. And as, running a company and supporting so many other companies that are 10, 20 times my size, oftentimes that balance comes, in different forms and sometimes it's imbalanced, right? That seesaw, you can't control it unless someone's on the other side helping you, right? So, with me is, if I know it's been a rough week, a rough season, I'm always looking to get back to that center, that balance, right? And then for me, when I have balance, there comes the peace within. So that's my focus. I would say, Ray, is that that's just naturally me, right? So don't let it get too far to the left, too far to the right. Just try to stay focused and centered. So that's a luxury for me of just maintaining that level of peace within so I can be a better person outwardly.
I love it. And then last one, best one. In one word, what is your primary motivation in business?
Purpose.
Purpose. Well, everyone, there you have it. This has been an amazing conversation around purpose, collaboration, and what is really possible when you look forward. So, Kiisha, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful.
So welcome. My pleasure.
All right. Well, everyone have a beautiful day. Thank you for taking the time to share 30 minutes of your life with us. And we hope that you grab some gold nuggets and are able to take that into the world as you continue your journey as a coach or consultant. We'll speak with you soon.